You're one of the very few people that gives unconditionally, I think. At least in my eyes, in my perspective.
Oh, thanks, Alan.
You share so much of your love. What is one reason behind why you think you give so much? Like, you just pour out entirely into everything that you do.
I thought of two people. The first person that comes to mind is my mom. She is mother that I saw on earth. She just has this heart for, I'm going to go with the underdog. She's a really big cheerleader for people that haven't been dealt the best cards. And she's done everything in her power since I've been alive. I'm pretty sure we've housed anybody possible. And I feel like that's really where it stems from. At a young age, I saw her do that. And as I got older and went through life, it irked me when I saw unfairness. And so, once I met Coach Al and I saw him in his line of work, I think it finally made me feel like, okay, we're not the only two out here that feel this way. So really what painted the picture is this idea of the gifts, right? Everybody is gifted something unique, and there's an endless amount of it inside of you. So much so that it's almost a shame if you don't share it, because the more that you hold on to it, the less that it's going to help other people and the less that it helps you. I feel like when you hold on to your own gift, you kind of drown in it a little bit. You don't know what to do with it or where to go. Something is off. So I'm definitely going to give credit to those two people for inspiring the unconditional giving.
If you could share a moment of a time that you felt like you gave so much love and it was given back to you, like it was reciprocated back to you, and how did that make you feel?
I'm going to use you as my example. From the moment that I met you, I saw that there was will. And I saw that there was just this immense amount of responsibility. And I think selfishly, like I wanted to be as connected to that as possible. And it just was not coming back in the same way. Like I felt like there was such a wall, and I was like, what am I doing wrong, right? Like I literally want to be her best friend, and she wants nothing to do with me. Not in that way, but over time I learned people are at different places in their lives, right? And so I believe that you were learning how to be okay with being yourself, nonetheless showing that to the rest of the world. And so the moment that comes to mind is really when we started working together more closely through COVID and through distance learning. It's when your grandpa got sick. Your grandma got sick. Mm-hmm. And for the first time, I saw there be no hesitation with something's going on. How do I process it? Like you showed up that day after day after day after day of working together, and I felt like I was poking the bear, like, come on Aloe, just waiting for you to tell me you love me, and I felt like all of those moments led up to this specific one, because for the first time, I want to say ever, I didn't feel like you held on to what you were feeling in fear of it exploding out, so much so that you expressed with this peace. There was like this ease in your reflection. Like I'm sharing it because I know holding on to it isn't going to do any good, but that literally felt like you gave me the best hug ever, because there was such a freedom in your expression, and I received the message, and I was super, super happy that you got to that point so quickly in working together, because now it's what you do every day. Now you have a whole podcast built around it. So that's when the love was received on my end.
So what do you believe makes you a good listener?
I had to learn very quickly that when people are expressing, it's not always because they're seeking a response. It's not always because they're seeking advice. Sometimes people really do just need to let it out. And this is something that I experience with my students every single day. They're all adults. They're at least over the age of 23. And I've found that being a sounding board, giving them the space to share whatever it is that they want, and being neutral on this end, regardless of what it is that they share, is the best way that I can listen. They don't want to just be acknowledged and seen, but heard and felt. And so I believe what makes me a good listener is having that understanding and approaching every conversation with that in mind. Regardless of my feelings and how I feel about the other person, you can love me, you can hate me, but I think at the end of the day, the best thing that you can offer is just a listening ear and acceptance of that person's point of view.
Just what makes you know how to manage your time, or when is the right time to give it to others?
That's a beautiful question. I had to learn that, unfortunately, through overexhaustion. In creating a lot of different things, specifically, I'm going to go back to this sweat course. I remember having moments where I couldn't keep my eyes open. Like driving home, I was just depleted. Like I felt like I had just shriveled down to my bones because I had no gas in the tank. My voice hurt, my throat hurt, my head hurt. I felt just like so overly stimulated because of like the presence and the emotion that everything that we do requires. So I went through some serious, reflecting on the weekends, just, okay, I can't keep feeling like this by the end of every week. If I want to maintain what I need to do for myself, which is, through movement, and give the best of myself to the people that I get to serve, I have to do additional work that I didn't envision, but that's necessary. So that came from really identifying that, one, you can't just yell all day long. Like, you really do have to be intentional with the words that you're saying, how you're saying them, and utilizing the people and the resources that you have around you. I don't have to speak the whole time. The microphone is meant to be passed around to the other people that are a part of our communities. And I believe that that's the best way to spend your energy, is when you're sharing that space with somebody else and you're empowering them. In that, you save a little bit of your voice. In that, they feel more confident as a result of, and they have the power to reach people at different frequencies that maybe you didn't. So through trial and error, and I'm going to go with practice every single day. I think that has been the biggest practice, is learning how to manage that and sticking to it, not being careless with energy, because although there's an endless source, when it comes from the source, your physical body still takes a toll. Something that I've learned through participating in sweat is I used to be very afraid of being alone. I was super fearful of just spending time by myself. And the more that you start to discover everything that you have inside, and the more that you become aligned with it, the more you crave it. And the more that you see, you actually do need to spend time away from everything in order to give that energy as purified as possible. So I would go with, I've come to an understanding and an acceptance that nobody is going to be in our lives forever. And I believe that I'm giving whoever it is that's across from me that is accepting of what I'm offering, I'm giving you my all right now. I can't say you're going to be in my life forever. You can decide, you know what, just don't want to talk to her anymore. And I need to be okay with that, because it literally will eat people alive, in certain relationships, whether they be familial, intimate, whatever they may be. Some endings like that really do break people. And I promised myself that I wouldn't get that emotionally involved. I just want to give you all of my emotions, so that if there is a time when we no longer get to be in each other's lives, I knew that in the present moment, I gave you everything that I had. And it brings a lot more peace, because it helps me not get upset about other people's decisions. Everyone's entitled to make their own decisions, and you're not a part of everyone's forever story. Mm-hmm. So you need to accept that they won't be a part of yours. And that's where I would say the enthusiasm stems from. I don't hold back, because you may or may not be here anyways. So why wouldn't I just give you everything that I have? What does giving to others make me feel? I feel like love gives me a hug. Like if you could know what love's true embrace was, as not as a person, but just as an entity, I feel like that's what we experience when we give. So I kind of just allow myself to like sit in the middle, you know? Sometimes when we have these huddles, I feel like there's this aura around us and nothing can come in. You know, these emotions, these feelings, this connection can exit, but nothing can disrupt that moment in time. Even if it's just for that moment, I feel like we start to float almost. It's this like state of bliss. And I believe that it's love.